So I haven't posted about Watsonville in quite a while. I've been doing some festivals and just building. And I think it's a good opportunity to start a devlog. Probably kind of working around this backwards. I'm not really a devlog type of person. I'm not the best at social media. I just like making games. So I do a lot of work in the background, but I figure a devlog might be a good way to kind of just get out there, share what I've been doing, my mistakes, and kind of hold me accountable. So in another video, I'm going to kind of go through what I've been doing really in the long scheme of things, just switching game engines from Unreal and Unity. And again, in maybe the next log video, I'll kind of show you the reasons why. But it's kind of led me down switching engines and kind of starting over almost. It's kind of led me down this rabbit hole of optimization, where I'm kind of going through and optimizing my meshes and batching everything and creating texture atlases. Um, and it's stuff that I didn't really, that you don't really think about sometimes when you're starting out, just creating assets for your game. I was just kind of creating an environment that I felt like would be interesting. But I think the more stuff that you build in VR, you really have to focus on streamlining it. So this is just in Blender, but just kind of showing you around maybe some of these rooms and what it looks like. And kind of see how I'm going through and kind of simplifying and kind of combining these meshes. And here's another room as well. And I'm not, there's definitely stuff that I can kind of push more and be a little bit more, um, a better topology, of course. Like this backbot could probably be simplified a little bit more, like that keyboard in the last scene, um, this controller and all that. But I'm also trying to balance this with like time. I don't want to spend too much time backtracking because I do ultimately want to finish my game. But I'm definitely going through and kind of creating a better workflow, and just better overall, hopefully, cleaner geometry and better batching. And here's an example of some of the older geometry that I still got to work on and kind of clean up. I mean, it's not the worst, but it definitely could be better, and it adds up. Like, looking at these doors back here and adding way too much subdivision surface modifiers. This TV, it's not terrible, but there's definitely a lot of lost and extra geometry on there. On this VCR, I'm relying more on textures. And here's another scene. And again, like overall, it's not too terrible, but just certain big things stand out, like this can. It's just one can. It's not too bad when you start having multiple ones. This coffee pot, which isn't even like a main item. Like that keyboard earlier, it's something that someone's going to be typing on, so I want it to be a little bit more refined. Like this telephone back here, it's not really key, but you kind of get the idea. And the big thing is like when I was working in Unreal, these were all, oh yeah, that oven's pretty bad too. Um, in order to batch, I guess some might have a better workflow, but in order to batch these things together in like chunks, efficient way, I had to balance this between like the amount of stuff I wanted to batch and gigantic light maps. All right, now let's look at the scene in Unity to see what I'm talking about more. So now I have these great little chunks for these areas, that again, that could be a little bit cleaner with the batching. Um, and for some reason, it just seems like the workflow makes more sense to me at creating light maps, for these bigger creations. And yeah, of course, I haven't even renamed the sample scene. That's okay. To be continued. Um, and one of the big things, like I'll talk more about the reasons between I've been making this shift to Unity, but a lot of it's been like, again, these light maps and having to get better static lighting, and baked lighting for VR. One of the big things is like, having, using light sources to kind of show you around the scene a little bit more and direct you. I really like this gobo effect. I really want to achieve for the blinds. And again, I feel like some of the automatic tools set up, and I know which is weird because usually Unreal is the go-to for lighting. And then let's just look at Unreal for the comparison. I'll even let's take it off lit, do it unlit, to get real weird with it. And you know it's more noticeable too, the big differences, the visual differences with the lighting when you actually build it out, especially when you're building it out for standalone quest. Um, but looking at all of these, I mean, I could probably chunk them up a little bit better, but even breaking them up, having separate walls, all these like extra steps, having to hand build my own light maps, it's a lot of work for, again, just not that great of optimization and results that I'm looking for. But we'll look at more at the kind of a comparison maybe in the next video. And I'll talk more about some of even the mechanical reasons I've kind of implemented or done the switch to Unity. And the next thing I want to talk about too is just texture atlases. Of course, these could be bigger. This one's 768 by 768. I know it's a weird size, but I feel like it's just enough without getting too big. I could probably do a 1024 and put more stuff on it, but I also, again, trying to just work in chunks and sections and also not spend too much time recreating the wheel. And here's another one as well. Again, this one's a little bit smaller, it's 512 by 512. And I don't know if anyone else does this, but sometimes I'll leave gaps in my atlases. So I'm like, oh, I might want to add one more thing to this collection. So I kind of leave these weird funky gaps in there and just kind of keep working forward so I don't overthink it too much. So that's essentially it for this video. Thanks for watching. Again, I'll go over more, I guess, in comparison and reasons why I'm making the switch. And game engines and what I've been kind of learning and achieving doing so. So I'll try to be a little bit more active about posting, hopefully about once a week, updating.